What's up? Good morning. How is everybody doing? So, I had an interesting conversation with my 6-year-old grandson this morning. The kid is phenomenal. He really is. He's something else, a little genius. Anywho, so last week he had asked me to go look at houses because, of course, since he's been, I don't know, as long as he probably has been alive, we went and looked at houses. And for the last 3 years, I've been, a real estate agent. Not necessarily active because, of course, I'm on the road, but I still go out and, look at houses and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll take him with me. And even before I got my real estate license, I would take him with me. Then we would go look at houses in the neighborhood and stuff like that. That's something that I've always been interested in. I mean, been doing it for years, even before he was even thought of. We would go and look at houses. It's always something I've been interested in. But anyway, he asked me last week, like, hey, Mimi, can we go look at houses? And I was like, well, we'll think about it. Because, I was a little tired last week. When I come home, I'm only home for 2 days, and some days it's just not, some weeks it's just not good weeks. I'd be super tired, especially depending on how my weeks go. But anywho, I was like, well, I'll think about it. But anyway, we didn't end up getting to go. So today I was sitting here and I wanted to go, but I got busy doing some other things, doing, he was at school yesterday, and I didn't bring my personal vehicle with us. Back home with me this week. I actually left it at work and I just drove my truck home. And so of course, I'm not gonna take him in the truck to go look at houses. So I told him, well, you know what? You asked me last week to go look at houses, and that was something that I wanted to do. But Mimi didn't bring her truck home. So next week, we'll go and look at houses. And he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, well, he said something on the lines of, when we need to buy us a new house. And I said, well, like, what are we going to, like, he told me pretty much we going to leave out of this house that we're in now. And I was like, oh yeah, well, where are we going to move to? And he was like, one of the houses that we look at. And I was like, oh, you talking about some of the big houses? And he was like, yeah, we're not going to stay here forever. And I was like, oh, okay, well, tell me more. I said, well, who going to buy the house? And he was like, well, everybody. He was like, who has a job? And I was just waiting to hear what he said. I was like, he asked me who has a job. And I was just listening like, yeah, who has the job? Who has it? Come on, tell me more. And so he was like, well, if everybody puts their money together, then we'll have lots of money, and then we could buy the new house. And I was like, oh, okay. So then he was like, if you put your money together, mommy puts her money in it, Uncle Paris and Nana, then we'll have lots of money. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. Now that's crazy. A 6-year-old could come together and think to go ahead and collectively put your money together to buy a house. Why can't adults do that? That's crazy.